From Capitol Square to City Hall, Rich Herrera is asking the questions we want asked.
This is Richmond's Morning News with Rich Herrera on News Radio WRVA.
Ask those questions every day. There are things that I want to know, things you want to know, and I appreciate you joining us this morning here on News Radio WRVA at 6:33. Time to get up, get going. Do not hit that snooze bar one more time. You got to get to work this morning. It is Friday, May 8th. Coming up in about an hour from now, Brett Baer, Fox News, has a new book out. We'll talk about that with the anchor of Special Report. Governor George Allen joins us on the program today. We'll get updated from him on what's going on with gerrymandering and redistricting. And Dave Saunders comes by the program later today, and he'll tell you what's going on in Richmond this weekend. But I did want to bring something up, and we kind of debated, but I just, darn it, I feel strong enough that I need to speak up on something that I've seen going viral, and that's another stupid thing coming out of the mouth of AOC. In case you didn't hear this, she goes to the podcast and she rants and raves against billionaires. Take a listen.
There's a certain level of wealth and accumulation that is unearned, right? You can't earn $1 billion.
That's right.
You just can't earn that.
That's exactly correct.
You can get market power. You can break rules. You can do all sorts of things. You can abuse labor laws.
Yep.
You can pay people less than what they're worth.
Yep.
But you can't earn that, right?
That's right.
And so you have to create a myth that since you didn't earn that, you have to create a myth of earning it.
You remember when Barack Obama said, you didn't build that, you didn't do that? This is a mindset on the progressive left that I wish we could just wipe out. I wish we could have a conversation and tell these people logically, you know that envy is a sin. You know that being a victim will never help you succeed in life. And you know that I am owed nothing. I think those are three facts that we can all agree on, or we should all agree on. I am not a victim. I'm not a victim. Nobody else put me in this position. I'm responsible for myself. That's part of being an independent. That's part of being a human being. I'm responsible for myself. I'm owed nothing. This world does not owe me a darn thing. I may earn as much as I can, but the world doesn't owe me one darn thing. And third, envy's a sin. You're going to sit there and look at somebody else and just envy everything they have and say, well, why don't I have that? They must have cheated. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's why envy's a sin. And the most important thing out of all of this, I would like to know from AOC and the little person that was just sitting there chirping along with her, who decides how much money you can make? Who decides how much money you can earn? Who decides what a proper amount of wealth for someone to have is? Is it you? Do you get to impose your will upon me? Or is there a collective that'll say, Rich, you made too much, you're too successful, let's ratchet that back down? You see, I was always told that if you worked hard, you can succeed, you can get ahead. I was always told that was part of the American dream. I was always told that, you know what, Rich, and I talk about my family all the time because I love them and I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of the fact that they raised themselves up from the bootstraps, worked hard, and gave me an opportunity, and that's all they gave me was an opportunity. And I took that opportunity and I ran with it. My son's taking that opportunity. He's running with it. My grandfather worked hard to give my dad a life. My dad worked hard to give me a life. I worked hard to give my son a life, and he's taking advantage of that and running with it. We're not owed a darn thing. We've earned everything we made. But right now, somehow, some way, this perverse thought has got into the American psyche, and you hear AOC sitting there, and then the other person kind of chirping, If you make a lot of money and you're successful, you are evil. You probably cheated someone to get there. Very interesting how they decide who cheated someone to get there. Elon Musk, obviously you cheated somebody to get there. Billionaire giving a bunch of money to the DNC, well, you're okay. You see, if that was the case, the Democratic Party wouldn't take billionaires' money, would they? They wouldn't take wealthy people's money. They wouldn't have these wild, crazy, extravagant fundraisers where people pay thousands of dollars a plate to sit in a huge room with one of their candidates, would they? They wouldn't have these private little confabs on Martha's Vineyard. or little elite places where they get together and they decide, no, they like billionaires. They just don't like billionaires and don't give money to the Democratic Party. That's the whole thing. If we could just expose the hypocrisy of someone like AOC who attended the Met Ball, who's worth a couple $1 million, even though the only 2 jobs she's had has been a bartender and a member of Congress, but she's worth millions. You see, there are people that work hard and they achieve and they get ahead. People like AOC never acknowledge that most people who try to build something fail. Think about this. That's why Walt Disney is someone that I look up to quite a bit. When I say I look up to him, was he perfect? No. But he was worth someone looking at his life and seeing what he was able to accomplish. You realize Walt Disney, for all his success, had a massive failure at one point, lost his first character, thought he was done. Most people that succeed have failed and failed miserably because they took a chance to do something none of the rest of us have the guts to do. Someone told me once, if you want to have that entrepreneurial mindset, you have to be willing to live in discomfort for a few years to have comfort for the rest of your life. And most of us, and myself included, are not that willing to do that. How many of you are willing to remake your life, take a chance, go out there on the limb, and risk everything, knowing full well you can fail? People like AOC sit back, watch those people that climb to that top of the tree, and when they didn't fall off, they go, you cheated everybody else to get up to that tree. Why didn't you try to climb that tree? Oh, it's too dangerous. But that person who got ahead probably got ahead by pushing everybody else down. The people who succeed take risks that most of us would never tolerate. How many of you would be willing to start your own business? How many of you would be willing to reinvent yourself, do something brand new? Years of uncertainty, money on the line, sleepless nights, no guarantees. Again, remember, nobody owes me a darn thing in this life. Everything I get, I earn. But the modern left skips the risk and only looks at the reward. For every Elon Musk, how many people failed that didn't get there? Are they evil too? You can't complain to support innovation and opportunity while teaching people that extraordinary success isn't worth it, because then we'll never get anybody trying. Maybe that's her message, is being a democratic socialist. Don't try to get better. Don't try to improve your family's life. And if anybody else does, then they're evil. That way we can all be miserable together. See, a couple things in this. I really want to know who decides how wealthy can you get. And I get it as someone in the middle class, and I'm feeling the squeeze just the way you are. Gas prices and everything else. As middle class, you feel like we've been forgotten because you see the opulence of the uber elites, and you go, well, what about me? And it's not difficult to drive through parts of Richmond and go, look at all they have. I wish I had that. And I have that feeling just like many of you. It's called envy. But I don't act on that envy because I'm not a victim. And I'll tell you what happens. I'll tell you what happens to me on a daily basis. I see someone else who's wildly successful in my business, and I ask, well, what's going on? But I don't look at them and say, oh, Brian Kilby, you're evil. You must have stabbed somebody in the back and stepped on 20 people, and you were evil and rotten and lousy, and you made a deal with the devil to get where you are today. I don't look at them like that. I look at them like, I want that too. So what do? I roll up my sleeves and I work harder. I roll up my sleeves and I work harder, and I look to see what I could do to try to achieve what somebody like Brian Kilmeade has achieved. When you see someone uberly successful, what do? Do you look at them and go, oh, that guy's, what a bum, what a piece of garbage that guy is. He's wildly successful. Or do you look at someone like that and go, you know what? Guy worked a lot harder than I did. That guy took some chances that I wasn't willing to take. What can I do to try to achieve that as well? There's this old story. Two people are sitting there working in the field, toiling, hot day. Car drives by, brand new Cadillac. The Republican and the Democrat are both standing there, and they admire the Cadillac as he gets out fully dressed. He is worth $1 bazillion. The Democrat says, nobody should have that. The Republican says, if I work hard enough, maybe my son can have that. That's the difference between the two. And the fact that AOC and this mindset has gone mainstream is deeply disturbing to me. So let me ask you this. When you see people that are uberly successful, Do you hate them, or do you ask, how did they get there, and what can I do to achieve that as well? I'd love to hear from you this morning. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. And again, I'm not sure how AOC was an economics major, because I was, and I have no idea how she looks at the world, micro, macro economics, that there's no such thing as a billionaire, that nobody's ever earned that. Wow. I wonder if she can get a refund from Boston University. 833-804-1140, 833-804-1140. Let me tell you about men's wellness centers.